I'm so pumped for that show. So for anyone that doesn't know why we have new intro music, it's because season 5 of Stranger Things drops in like 2 weeks,
Like three
something like
weeks.
that.
Don't
So
don't get me too excited too early.
it's going to be a great, great time. Now, before we get started, because we have a good episode for you today, it's time management. Before we get started, Brad loves a good cold opening. Brad also gets very squeamish whenever I'm about to share a video because he thinks it's going to be something horrible because he has scars from the past. But I have something I'm going to share that is not horrible, but it is funny. So that's what we're going to start this off with. So let me
We'll
share my
see.
screen.
The Subway restaurant chain has reacted with shock this week after executives discovered that many customers are apparently purchasing footlong sandwiches and eating the entire 12 inches by themselves. A spokesperson for the company addressed reporters this morning.
This is not how our products are intended to be consumed. Our footlong subs have always been meant to be shared among 2 or more friends. Eating an entire foot of food shouldn't be possible for most people. But they've been doing it somehow, and it needs to stop.
To encourage healthier eating habits, Subway is clarifying its marketing, adjusting language on menus and in television commercials like this one. $5 footlongs? Wow, that's $2.50 per person. Subway's corporate leadership.
You know what's the craziest thing about that is I don't know anybody who would want a sandwich the exact same way that I would want it, so we could split it.
I mean, that's a fair that's a fair point. It's kind of like your Chipotle burrito too, right? Like everyone's Chipotle burrito is a little bit unique. I wouldn't be able to share mine with someone else, so I feel you. No, not now that we've gotten that cold opening out of the way, which was very funny, by the way. We can dive into the episode itself, which, like I said, is about time management. So here we go. What we're going to learn today, guys. Huh?
Before we start, can I tell you something that I've been thinking about way too much in the last week?
The stage is yours.
So, imagine if aliens came down and we were explaining to them like how we fed ourselves. And part of the conversation, you know, it's like, hey, we have to eat food because we get energy from it. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. Like there's chemical energy. Like I get it. But then you had to describe drinking water. And you're like, hey, I have to drink this clear liquid that like makes up a lot of the planet, but it's kind of hard to find. And it has to be like, there can't be salt in it or you'll die. And they'll be like, okay, well, like, what does it do? Like, does it give you energy? And you're like, no, it doesn't really give you energy. And then they're like, okay, well, like, why do you drink it? You're like, well, I have to have it. Like, it helps me regulate my temperature when I get hot. And they're like, well, what if you're not like exercising and don't get hot? You're like, well, I still have to drink like a lot of it. And they're like, but why? And you're like, honestly, I don't really know. It's just weird. Like, try to just think about explaining hydration to an alien. It's such a bizarre concept.
Wouldn't the easiest way to explain it just be like, this is like this is what I'm mostly made of, so I need to replenish myself with it?
Yeah, but like that's just so weird.
I don't think that would be a foreign concept. An alien would be made of something and needs to sustain itself as well, right? So you would think it'd be an understandable concept.
But we don't have like, we're mostly a carbon-based life form, but we don't have like a set amount of carbon we have to eat a day.
I don't think that's how it works. Because
you just said we're mostly made of water, so it would make sense you have to drink water. It's like we're mostly made of carbon, so why is there not a set carbon amount? Right? It's weird. Like it's actually really weird. Stop clicking.
That's not me. That's my microphone.
Okay. I can hear it. If I can hear it, the listeners can hear it.
This is the microphone. Yeah, I have to mute my microphone sometimes. But yeah, I think this is an interesting insight into your brain and the way your brain works, and like is kind of justification for when you say things like like people don't want to know how my brain works. Like if anyone had insight into my brain, they'd be like, so thank you for that that illustration. Anything else that you've thought of lately that is strange that you want to share before we dive into this?
Nothing relevant to this conversation.
Okay. So time management. I have to say that Brad was a little bit skeptical on whether we should do this episode or not. I'm just calling you out right now, and I said no. I think this is going to be a good episode because, first of all, people struggle with time management, but also we're approaching the holidays and things get like busy. Life gets even busier, and so there's this concern that people have about how do I manage my time and how do I, what like I'm already busy. How am I going to get everything done that I need to get done and like still focus on myself? And so, most people they don't fail at losing weight because they're lazy. Well, I suppose maybe some people do, but a lot of people fail because you're overwhelmed and you can't manage your time, and there's like you just don't really know how to juggle everything. And so, that being said, lack of time being one of the most common roadblocks for success is why I thought it was important to go over this. So in this episode, we'll hopefully show you how to take control of your schedule so you can make, progress without still feeling, without feeling overwhelmed and without overhauling your entire life. The truth is that one of the things I've discovered is you're never going to find time. You just have to make it, and you have to prioritize things. Brad, do you feel like the phrase "we all have the same 24 hours in a day" applies? What's your take on that?
I mean, we do. Everybody has 24 hours, right? But what
it
sort of
implies,
like
right?
the trite saying of a calorie is a calorie. It's like, yes, a calorie is a calorie. But I mean, I think the reality is when we talk about time management, a lot of it comes down to how many like obligations and responsibilities have you picked up in your life, and how are you prioritizing those? And we go through phases where, I mean, when you think like you're in your early 20s, like maybe you're single or maybe you just got married, you don't have kids, you just have a job, like you don't have a lot of obligations. Like you have a lot more, I don't want to say free time, but discretionary time, right? And then as you pick up more responsibilities, like, oh, now you own a house. Now you have kids. Now you have a job and you sit on a board for a volunteer organization, right? So it's like just as you pick up responsibilities, your discretionary time definitely becomes smaller. And so then it comes down to like prioritization. And one of the analogies I used to give clients a lot of times is, it's kind of a weird analogy, but it's sort of like everybody can afford a Ferrari. But do you want to? Right? It's like pretty much anybody could realistically go pay, I mean, anybody who's got like a full-time job could go buy like $150,000 Ferrari, right? You just go put it on a 12-year loan. You put minimal money down and just like all of your income goes to your Ferrari, right? You live in it, you sleep in it. Like
that would be wild.
Everybody can afford a Ferrari, right? Like this is just like a trite example, right?
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
It's just you've decided that's your priority, right? And so I think a lot of times we talk about time management. It's really about, have you been intentional with what you're prioritizing and like how you stack your obligations, and like what are the things that you've obligated yourself to that actually meaningfully improve your life.
Let me ask you something. Do you feel that the older you've gotten, the faster time goes by?
Yeah, it's like my grandma used to say, life's like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes.
But there's like, there are some theories behind why this is. Are you familiar with any of those theories about why that is? Like why it seems to go?
Well, I mean, that's fairly straightforward, right? When you're 5 years old, 1 year of your life is 20% of your life. So it just seems like a lot longer. When you're 40 years old, 1%
50,
is
it's
2.5% of your life, right? So it feels like it's so much quicker.
Yeah. The other component of that, and yes, it's the the ratio. Excuse me, the ratio effect is one of them. But the other theory is that when you're younger, you have so many more novel experiences, things you've never done before, and they all there's so much new that your brain, in between those new experiences, the gap seems to be much bigger. But the older you get and the fewer new experiences you have, what ends up happening? Your days just sort of blend together and the weeks blend together, and fewer memorable things seem to stand out. And so those memory markers by which you judge the perception of time is totally different than it was when you were little. So I just thought that was kind of, and it makes sense, right? Like, yeah, I mean, most people, when we do the same thing every day, nothing is as memorable as it used to be, and it all just sort of blends together. But then you're like, damn, what the hell happened to the year, you know? So anyways, so let's, moving on with the time management thing. Again, what I'm hoping we can talk about in this episode is trying to identify a few things. Where does your current time actually go? It's funny because this is like all of this stuff is like, can apply to personal as well as business. But so identify where your time goes, recognizing, like, are there things that you're wasting your time on? Are there ways to be more efficient with it? And then we'll talk about simple strategies to free up, maybe even if it's just 30 minutes a day, or if you could free up an hour of your day, that can make a big difference. And then, just creating a routine that fits your life, and then using your time as a tool to stay consistent with your nutrition and workout. So I think time management, to me, the definition isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. And you and I have had this conversation, before, where it's do the things that matter, because sometimes we get caught up in doing other things that just like, it's not going to like produce results. It's not going to be meaningful. So like focus on the things that matter most. So if we discuss I'll kind of pull out one of the things that you said recently, right? There's being busy versus being like intentional or productive, right? So from a personal standpoint, if you think about the position of our listeners and people trying to lose weight, people trying to diet, lift weights, whatever, how would we define, like, how would you explain there's a difference between you being busy and you being productive? In other words, working on your goals.
I mean, I think even before you get to that, I think there's two other things to look at. One is there are a set of decisions that you make in your day that have nothing to do with productivity and time management that you have to make every day no matter what. And some of them move you closer towards your goals, and some of them move you away from your goals, right? Yeah. And a lot of that just comes down to, like, this is the nutrition side, right? Like, you're going to make 3 to 4 decisions every day about what to eat. It takes no more time to make a good decision than a bad decision. Now, like, sometimes it takes more time to like prep good food but like the decision itself doesn't take extra time, right? It's habit, it's like thought process, it's all of those things. But the first thing is to like just look at what are the decisions you make every day, and are they moving you closer to your goals or away from your goals, right? It's like, am I picking X over Y? Am I choosing alcohol or water? Am I choosing like calorie dense versus nutrient dense foods? Like, start with the things that don't actually have any effect on time, but are simply just being more efficient with the decisions you make, right? That's the first thing you do. Same thing like applies to work, right? Like, if you're going to make a decision of what to work on for the next hour, pick the higher ROI thing, right? If it's like, hey, I have to, I don't know, reorganize my calendar, or I have to get this work project done, like, get the work project done, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is eliminate the waste of time that you spend in a given day. Like, with rare exception, most people waste a lot of time. Like, just go look at your phone and your screen time. Unless you have a job that requires you to like be scrolling on your phone, just look at your screen time.
Yeah.
Start there.
Do you think it's, to me, I mean, I think it seems like a valuable tool would be, based on what you're suggesting, is like, write these things down, right? Like, make a list of, here's what I think my priorities need to be today, and then here are the things that I think, I've wasted my time. Like, writing, like, I think visualizing these things and writing them down could be super helpful. and a good starting point. Because, I mean, obviously you have to identify those things before you can do anything about them, right?
Yeah, I mean, just pull open your phone and look at like what's your average screen time, right? You can look at it and you go, "Oh shit, this is not good."
What's the app that you spend the most time on? If you don't mind sharing that with us, I'm curious.
Google Chrome.
Well, that's understandable.
Now, the hard part there is like my phone is tied to my computer.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
my account sync, so I have
yeah.
I have astronomical amounts of time because people really don't want to know what my it's not good.
So
but like those are the first places to start. Like when you really talk about time management, it's start with being efficient with the choices you have to make regardless, and then just start eliminating all the stuff that doesn't move the needle.
But again, in order to identify those things, what would you recommend? Like, do you think it's literally as simple as write them down?
Yeah, I think that's a great, like, just
come up with a list and
spend a week and just write down how you spend your time every day for a week, and you'll be like, oh shit, there's a lot of time in here.
So take a journal, have a journal, and then review that after a week and be like, here's what I should be doing. Here's what I can do.
Yeah, or just like use the notes app on your phone. Like, I don't know.
Oh,
just be like, oh, from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. I scrolled on Instagram on my phone or TikTok or whatever it is. And then I finally got out of bed. Then I got up and then I went to work. And at work I did like just pay attention to those things first.
Don't you think it would be beneficial if, like, I don't know anywhere in our education system where they teach this sort of thing, but I feel like time management should be like a course everyone should take. I mean, do you know any good resources for people that teach this sort of thing? Like any books that you'd recommend for listeners, or for, courses they could free resources they could go use on time management?
That's a good question. I don't know if I've ever read books on time management.
I mean, I assume there must be, but I just, it feels like a scientific / strategic thing you could put into a framework to help people.
Yeah. I mean, this is maybe my controversial take. I don't really think it's that complicated. Right? I think it's start with like what is important to you? Like what are your priorities? Right? Is it like health, family, work? Is it work, family, health? Like just prioritize those things and make sure that like your calendar aligns with that priority.
Aligns with that. Yeah.
Right? Just start there. I mean, then there's all the like tips and tricks of like, oh, make sure you pack your clothes the night before so you're not doing like there's all those things, but I think that's not what people struggle with. I think people really struggle with saying no to things that don't matter. I think it's being not intentional with the time they have. And then I think we continue to just pick up obligations during our life, and those end up like taking away our discretionary time.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It in theory, it all sounds very simple, but I know that practicing it is entirely different.
I mean,
and it's another reason why I wanted to do this.
I mean, things can be simple but difficult, right?
Yeah,
learning to say no to things that seem like good opportunities but actually don't meaningfully improve your life is a very hard thing to do. Like I really struggle with that. People are like, oh, do you want to do X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. And then I'm like, oh, actually, this is just really a big life suck.
You're like, why did I say yes to this?
Yeah. And so I think a lot of us struggle with that.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with a friend / colleague / quasi former boss of mine this morning at basketball, and we were just kind of like, after we got done, we were just chatting and catching up, and one of the conversations we had was like, when is enough enough?
About what specifically?
Like everything, right? Like, do I need to pick up more hours at work? Do I need to pick up more projects? Like, what am I really chasing? And I think a lot of us get stuck in this like more. And like, what is actually enough? And I think that's a big part of it too. We just like, let me just like paint a picture, right? Like, quote unquote, the American dream. A really good full-time job, maybe you own a small business, and then you have a bunch of like side gig work, side hustle work that's like your entrepreneurship, doing all these things. And you have a wife and you have or a spouse and you have 3 kids and you have a home and a vacation home and you have 2 dogs and you have like the 2 cars, and then you've got the like project car that you're working on, and then you've got like all these cool hobbies, and it's like all of these things. It's like you just keep accumulating obligations. It's like but few people stop and like actually ask, okay, what do I think about the time I have? What actually matters? All right, like when is enough enough? And like, okay, let me just step back and actually ask myself, what do I want my life to look and feel like, and how do I prioritize my time?
And that's a good sort of, it's a good point into some of the things that I wanted to mention, which were, what are the things people are wanting to prioritize, people as in our listeners and people in our group, and then what are the common things they struggle with, and the things that we hear, the things that we say in the group, the things that people tell our coaches, is like a few examples would be, hey, I'm pulled in 10 different directions. I don't know where to focus, right? I got work, kids, my spouse is this or that. I've got chores, we got kids, sports, right? By the end of the day, I'm just mentally done, right? Like,
yeah,
I start strong, I lose structure at the end of the day, the middle of the week. I feel like, and then that's another thing. I feel guilty if I take time for myself, right? Every day feels like just survival mode, and there's no space for me. And so those are the things that a lot of our listeners struggle with. And I mean, yeah, it's different. It's a different animal trying to survive with, when you're in that type of, you're up against those type of challenges. And then frankly, that's why a lot of people that want to lose weight don't do it, because they're prioritizing those other things. And a lot of time you have to. So the challenge really is, how do I find more, I think it's 2 things. It's how do I find more time for myself, but also how do I learn to not feel guilty about the fact that I'm taking time for myself. And I think starting with identifying, writing down what you've done for a whole week, and then looking back at that and being like, I don't need to do this. I can shave this off here. I can cut this out here. I can cut this out here. Now you've just freed up time, and you say, what could I do instead of that? So maybe you've cut 10 minutes here by not being on your phone at X time, and instead you can use that time to meal prep for your lunch that day, or just something, right? You look at it and you replace it. And so this is kind of, getting into like the actionable tips and strategies here. If you identify where's your time going, tracking your day, for a few days, I think is great. Highlighting where you lose time, and then asking yourself, does this serve my goals? What about a weekly planning ritual, right? Like maybe you spend 10 minutes every Sunday mapping out your workouts, your grocery shopping, your meal prep. You put those into your calendar as appointments, like, so they're actually on your to-do list, not optional extras. You just treat them like, this is what I got to do. And then you add some buffers. Maybe you put 15 minutes between your tasks so things feel achievable. I think those are some actionable steps that you could realistically take. But I think the term non-negotiable is something that you've used. What do you think would be 1 to 2 non-negotiable blocks per day that people should, like, what are some non-negotiables for you? Like, I know you take a walk, you make sure you get a walk every day. You do. I mean, what are your non-negotiables that people should consider?
I mean, they always kind of change based on the phase of life you're in a little bit.
Sure.
But like, here are my non-negotiables, like the 2 or 3 things that I have every day. At least right now. One is what I eat is prioritized, right?
Okay.
So whether that's like I block out time to cook dinner, and like the reality is, I mean, we eat pretty simple in my house, but like it is rare that it takes me more than 20, 25 minutes of like actual work in the kitchen to make a meal. right? Sometimes you like put stuff in the oven and it takes longer to cook, but like 20 to 25 minutes of like just making food, it's probably like that's always a non-negotiable. And then right now it's at dinner, my phone goes away. Like that's a non-negotiable, and I don't pick it up until it's bedtime.
Same.
Right? And then it's like weekly non-negotiables. Like I have to get exercise 3 days a week, like no matter what. Everything else, like.
Are there any universal non-negotiables that let's say you were a coach, you've got a client, you've got multiple clients, that you would say, here are just 1 to 2 non-negotiables that I think you should have, that everybody should have as universal non-negotiables. And the reason I ask that is because I think exercising should absolutely.
What's their
be one
goal, right? Like, I think the non-negotiables are determined based on what your goal is, right? If your goal is, I'm in a phase of my life where the only thing that matters is building a successful business, like your non-negotiables are going to be very different. If it's, hey, my main goal is like I need to reclaim my health, it's very different. Right, so I think it's really hard to say here's the standardized non-negotiables for everybody. That just doesn't work.
Well, I get your point, but I guess what I'm thinking of is, to me, I think exercising should be a universal non-negotiable no matter what your goal is, because like you said, if your goal is to build a business, you want to be physically and mentally healthy. Exercise helps with that, right? So like that is one, I think, universal thing that everybody should try to do.
Yeah, I mean I'm going to disagree there.
Okay.
Like, let's say you have a major deadline for a client and it's 2 weeks and you're like a 20-year-old and it's like in the phase of your life where like, I have to get this done.
Yeah.
Like, okay, the non-negotiable is like, get this done. Right?
Sure.
Now, would it be great if you could get some exercise in for like stress management? Yeah, of course. But like, this is the part of being a really good coach. You have to listen to the situation. Right?
Yeah.
You can't say, hey, based on where I'm at in my life as a coach, here's my non-negotiables. Those should be your non-negotiables, right? Everybody's is going to be different. Like if I've got a client who has to lose 100 pounds and they're like a really successful attorney in a law firm, and they've got a big case that they're working on right now that's taken 60 to 80 hours of their week, like our non-negotiables are going to be much different than somebody who's got 100 pounds to lose. They work 40 hours a week and they have a flexible schedule. Like it's really hard to say like everybody needs these 3 non-negotiables. Like I can't say that, right?
What were 20-year-old Brad Dieter's non-negotiables?
I can't even remember.
Play pickup basketball every day?
You know, between like probably 23 and 26, I didn't play basketball really.
Really?
I was too busy. Yeah, I was way too busy.
Not even just the occasional pickup game? Or just
I probably played like 4 times in 3 years during that phase.
Wow.
I mean, that was a period where it was like up at 4, work, study.
Time. Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, like life has phases, right? I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. What about, so if we back up a second, let's continue to talk about strategies, things people can do. One of the suggestions that we give people that seems to really help is, I'll call it batching your decisions, or just like simplifying things. So, like batching meal prep. Batch meal prep would be a good one. Laundry, the errands that you're running, like batch them to reduce going back and forth between tasks. I think that's a big one, right? Because when you're trying to like juggle multiple things at once, you're just not as efficient as you would be if you were just like, here's the one thing that I'm, trying to focus on. I think also people should really think about deciding if you can, carve out 5 minutes. I don't even know if you need more than 5 minutes. Maybe you need less than that to decide the day before or the night before what your meals are going to be the next day. I think that can be incredibly helpful. Just plan it out. Now you've got the plan so that the next morning, I'm just going to batch prep real quick and I'm done. I think that you can also kind of arrange your day based on when your energy is the highest, and and schedule your nutrition and your workouts around that. Like some people maybe feel way better in the morning, and some people are like, I'm dragging my ass in the morning and I feel way better in the afternoon. So think about your energy levels and like how you feel throughout the day too, and try to plan around that. I think that's one that we don't really think of very often. And then I think, boy, this is a tough one, but I think sleep, if you can get sleep, that'll help with your energy levels. I think that'll make a difference in how you feel throughout the day and how you plan. I also think one that's underrated is like just taking like, I remember learning this, I think it was 7th grade. And one of my I think it was my social studies teacher who was like, hey, one of the tips I want you guys to take with you for the rest of your life is when you're working on something or you're studying, stop every, I don't know if it was 15 minutes, half hour, an hour, something like that. But like take a 5-minute break and then come back to it, and you'll feel more energized. You allow your brain to like take a break and like, kind of soak up what you were doing and then restart, as opposed to just trying to grind it out for 5 hours straight. I also think this is, I'll put a bow on this because you're probably thinking how long is this guy going to talk? But boundaries and
if the audience is wondering, it can be hours.
Boundaries and addressing that guilt-free me time. You just talked about it earlier, but saying yes to yourself first sometimes can, I mean, you have to do that. I think setting boundaries with people who constantly try to pull at your time is huge, right? And you instead of saying yes to something, you can say no. And I know that's probably hard to do, but I think replacing that guilt with just be logical about it, right? Like, I'm better for my family if I take care of myself. Think about it that way, right? You don't have to feel guilty about it. Like, hey, I'm going to say yes to myself for 15 minutes because I know that if I do this, I'll be better for you guys. Like, I got 4 kids. I know that if I can take 15 minutes in a quiet space, even if it's for a drive, I'm going to come back and be like, cool. I don't want to like pull my hair out because I got 4 kids running around the house destroying things, right? Like, I'm a little more calm if I can just take 15 minutes for myself and calm down. So there's these little things that I think you really have to learn to say yes to yourself for the right reasons, and you won't have to feel guilty about it if you can just say, here's why I'm doing it, because I'm going to be a better parent to you, or I'm going to be a better spouse to you. So those are my overall thoughts, but any takeaways from that you would add or agree with, disagree with, anything you would add or change there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the most helpful things for time management that I think people can do is just ask themselves what really matters. Right? And here's a good analogy. Go through your house and just look at all the stuff you have.
Oh God.
And how much of it actually matters?
How much of it do you actually use?
Well, just like, and how much of it matters? Right? And then think about your life and the time you spend the same way. Like, if you go to your house and you look at all the stuff, you're like, oh, if I lost 95% of this stuff, my life wouldn't change.
Yeah.
Right? Your time's the same way. And so, like, how much of what you spend your time with actually really matters versus just weird, random obligation things that you think you need to do, you've picked up along the way. And maybe it's just like I'm just hyper-focused on this in my life right now of like, okay, and this is maybe my midlife crisis talking. Like, what am I doing and what really matters with my time? Right? Like, if I look at a day, a week, a month, a year, like what I spend my time on really matter and improve my life? Right? Did that dinner I was invited to with those people that I kind of sort of know, did I really need to go to that? Is that going to be important in 5 years? Yes, no. Is the like event that I was invited to really going to matter in 5 years? Yes, no. Is the volunteering for this thing that like maybe brings me social status, does it really matter in 5 years? Yes, no. Does like buying the new car that requires me to work overtime to pay for it really matter in 5 years? Yes, no. Like,
So these are things that you're saying you currently, this is your thought process when you're making
yeah,
decisions right
but
now
I
in
think
your
like,
life.
yeah, and like a lot of people I think can really benefit in terms of time management from that perspective.
Is will it matter in X years?
Well, like, or just does it matter?
What would you say is criteria for does it matter?
Well, I think everybody's has different criteria.
Well, I suppose
right?
I suppose that's goal dependent though too, right?
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
where you're at in your life, right? Like,
Yeah.
are you a 20-year-old with no obligations?
Right.
Are you a 37-year-old with a wife and a new baby and
Right.
a business that you have to run and manage people who dress like you on the same day?
We got a comment from Monica that said, "Did you guys coordinate your outfits
right?
today?"
Like, so I think everybody's different, but I think just asking the question of yourself of like, am I spending time on things that actually matter? I think a lot of our modern lives are filled with just stuff. Like, if you rewind the clock 100 years, most of what we spend our time doing today, like, nobody did,
Yeah, that's for sure.
right? So a lot of it is like, oh, is this stuff that I just do because it's normal, or does it really matter?
I think the good part about all this is if you can sort of get yourself into a routine, if you can like string together 1 or 2 weeks of consistent like routine that you set out to do, it becomes a whole lot easier, don't you think? Like eventually you're just kind of like, you know what, like A, I can do this, and B, I kind of want to continue because like now I've strung together 2 solid weeks of this. I don't want to break that, right? Like I want to keep going, and it's just a different mindset. And I think a lot of people struggle to even get to that point, but if you can get there, if you can just string together a solid week or 2 weeks, I think you're going to find that this is easier than it's easier than I thought it would be at this point. It wasn't easy to get there, but now I can feel the momentum and like now I just want to keep going. Now it becomes a game of how long can I keep this up? So I think just getting to that point where you can put together a couple good weeks of being consistent is a game changer, don't you think?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes down to what does life feel like on the other side of some of these decisions,
Mhm.
right? Like,
You get to experience
you
that.
have the conversation with your spouse of, hey, I'd like to reprioritize some things. Can we figure out how I can get to the gym Tuesday, Thursday at 5 in the morning, and you take the kids, and then the other days, like, I'll take the kids in the morning, right? What does life feel like on the other side of that conversation, right? Hey, honey, we're so busy and we have so much stuff going on. Like, the kids have 4 sports. They don't really even like soccer. Like, what would it look like if we just dropped our kids to doing one sport at a time so we had more time as a family and, like, we got to go on more hikes and exercise together and we're not driving around all over the place? Like, what if we tried life like that for a few months?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how often do we just avoid the conversations of, like, reprioritizing versus we just start doing stuff and it's like, this is the normal and I don't want to shake normal. It's like, okay, well, like, why though?
Yeah. One of the things that my wife and I do, because, you know, again, when you've got you've both got full-time jobs that, you know, come with a lot of responsibilities and stress. And then you've got, you know, after work, okay, now we've got to focus on a clean house, taking care of the kids. It's easy to get overwhelmed. So one of the things that she and I will do is, like, she might get home one day and be like, hey, like, I've got 80% in me tonight that I can give, or the other way around, let's say I've got 20%. Can you give 80 tonight? And just sometimes, you know, and we'll just say that. So I'm like, hey, I got 50. You want to meet me at 50? Like, it just, if she comes home and is like, honey, I got 10% in me this evening. Work was awful. Can you do the other 90? I got you. And like, we'll kind of have that. At least it maybe sounds a little bit corny, but it really helps us kind of, you know, when our workday is over and it's time to do the family stuff, it really helps us, you know, understand one another as far as what can I contribute, you know, in my familial obligations tonight. And that goes a long way too. So there's just these little things, like, kind of like you said, prioritizing and like, how can I arrange things to make this as conducive to my goals as I can. That's one of the things that people struggle with is, okay, I'm done with work. Now I've got all this family stuff to take care of. How do I do this? I mean, work with your spouse on it too, right? Like work with your kids, work with your, find a way that works for you. And sometimes sometimes it can be as simple as, like I said, I can only give 20% tonight because the day was just awful. Can you meet me at the other 80? Right. And I got you back tomorrow night. Like tomorrow, we can reverse those roles if you need to, but there's that.
Or honey, tomorrow I'm going to give you 10 and you've got to bring 90. I mean, it's also interesting. I mean, obviously I'm still trying to explore this phase of life and figure it out, but it's always interesting to me too of a lot of times the conversations are like, oh, I have to do this for me. And then I have to be there for the kids. Like, why is it not, we all do it together?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, exactly.
Right? Of like, oh, why don't we all go outside and go
Yep.
for a run or a hike, or you guys ride your bike and I'll run, or
Yep.
hey, we're all gonna go to the gym. Like, I'm gonna go lift. You guys go play in the gymnasium. Like,
Yep.
bring a basketball and you guys just run around for 30 minutes. And I don't
Yep.
care if you end up playing dodgeball and throwing the basketball at each other's heads. Like, just go have fun.
Exactly.
Right? There's a lot of like life compartmentalization, I think, sometimes that's not always required.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that reminds me, because one of the things that we've done that was really helpful is, like, my kids could be out there for 10 minutes. The house is clean. 10 minutes later, it's a disaster. So I could either go through and clean it up myself, or what we do is, hey guys, 10-minute family cleanup session. Everybody cleans it up. We're done in 5 minutes. So like even that, like just little things like that where, and maybe that's something people listening to this can apply is, you feel like one of the things that you take care of that sucks up so much of your time is cleaning your house and running chores.
Anti-entropy.
There you go. So like, but just, if you can make it like a family thing, we all contribute to this for 10 minutes. It's only going to take 10 minutes if we all do this. That saves a ton of time, and it's going to save you a ton of stress. And frankly, it's going to save you from like being angry at your kids because they left a mess, or they didn't, they're not cleaning up, right? Or that, you feel like you got to clean it up all yourself. No, if we do this together, it makes a big difference. So again, just another tactic or strategy that I use to kind of,
I mean, if I was Mandy,
life.
I'd probably just make you do all the cleanup myself too. So,
well, sometimes it is that way. Other times, I'll come home and she's got the place, spick and span, and I'm like, hey, that's great.
Or just sell everything you own so there's nothing to be cluttered.
Yeah, that's the one thing they don't tell you when you have 4 kids is they're all going to be slobs. Did you see that picture I posted of my son? The chip box that he asked. I was working. It was like this was yesterday evening, and I'm in here working. He goes, "Dad, can I have a bag of chips?" Well, we have this we have this box from Sam's Club of like 50 bags of Ruffles chips. They take one. It's for like school snack, right? And I said, "Not right now. I'll open the box for you in a bit." I come out, and the box now has a giant hole that he cut in it, and took the chips out. He didn't want to wait, so like but they don't tell you those kinds of things, like that you're gonna, all of the disastrous things that your kids do to your house in your house. Nobody can prepare you for that.
Yeah,
it's a it's a commitment for sure. All right, is there anything else you would add, or any advice that you'd have to round off the show here about time management? Any final thoughts, tips for people you'd want to share?
Start with optimizing the decisions you already have to make anyway. Then remove all the stuff that actually doesn't matter. And then start working on like, okay, how do I like game the system to really focus on time management? I think if you do the first 2, you'll get back way more time than you really thought.
Would you say that is it fair to summarize it? Like, is it fair to say you don't need more time? You need more intention. You need
problem
to be
is
more
you can't
intentioned.
get more time. Time is time. You can't.
But And that's my point, right? Like, so really, would you say that it's about being more intentional?
I think you get 80% of the benefits of true time management by just removing the noise from your life.
Yeah.
At least in modern day.
Yeah.
Right? And then I think the last 20% is like the actual tactics of like, okay, I'm going to meal prep. Okay, I'm going to do this. Okay, I'm going to do that. But I think the majority of it is removing the noise.
Are you meal prepping today, or what's for lunch for you?
Lunch today is probably going to be heated up leftovers.
What's left? What are the leftovers?
I think we have some like leftover chicken from the other night.
Butter chicken?
No.
Oh, so good.
I think that might be on the menu tonight or tomorrow.
There you go.
Yeah. I think it was General Tso's chicken I made the other night.
What if I showed up this afternoon because I flew out there and I knocked on your door and I said, we're going to Chipotle. I got you.
I'd say you should go back home. I'm just
Even
kidding.
if I was buying Chipotle, how could you turn down a free Chipotle burrito?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'd probably be like, that was a very expensive Chipotle burrito.
Maybe I've got some frequent flyer miles to use. You don't know.
Yeah. If I ever get to the point in my life where I fly enough to have like real frequent flyer miles, I am not living. I don't want that life. I used to live that life when I was young. No.
I mean, yeah, I suppose it's good for people that are, like business travelers that fly a lot, but like I'm like you. I'm a Delta member, but like I maybe have
the amount of money the amount of money I'd have to be making / getting paid to travel like multiple times a month for days on end at this point in my life, it would be so astronomical. Like,
would it make you feel? Would you feel any different if you were, let's say, you were making so much money and your business required that you travel all the time that you could like afford, like you had your own private jet, let's say.
Yeah.
Would you feel? Would your feelings about traveling be any different? Would you be like, okay, this isn't so bad anymore because I get to fly private, or do you think you'd still be like, I don't really want to do this?
At this stage of my life, I would still very much be like, I don't really want to do this. Maybe in like 10 years or so, I'd be like, okay.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean,
have you seen how much it is to like rent a private jet just for like one way?
Depending on the size, it's about $5 to $10 grand an hour.
It's crazy. Yeah. That's a lot. It's a lot of money for an hour, man. Don't most people probably lease the jet instead of outright own it? I would imagine most.
No, I mean the way that most people do it is either they buy the jet, or a lot of people just get like jet cards. They'll put like a couple $100 grand on a jet card, and then they just rent them when they need them.
Huh.
Yeah.
So you've looked into this.
Yeah. Mostly just because it's interesting.
Trying
to figure out how that segment of the world works.
Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing about buying a jet is it's fully tax deductible.
Okay. Yeah. I could. Yeah.
Right.
Have you ever flown private?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I don't. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Well, I hope this was a good episode for people. I hope they took some stuff from it. There's Patsy we did get a comment from Patsy. I think she's referring to. She said we do that. It's so effective. We also add good music to our time. I think she's talking about the family cleanup session. Which Patsy, you know what? Shout out to you because that is what my wife always does. Is she'll say, Alexa, play, whatever today's hits, and then we all. Oh, Alexa's talking. I actually just summoned Alexa. She's yelling at me from the kitchen. Sorry, Alexa, I didn't actually need you.
Fun fact.
Alexa, turn off. Can you hear that music playing?
I worked for a while for the law firm that did all the Alexa patents.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You are a man of like secretive things. Like I didn't, there was a point I didn't know that you had worked for the FBI, and when you told me that, I was like,
we can't talk about that.
was like, holy crap.
This is
I didn't know
see
about
people.
this
This is when I tell Dylan things that he can't tell the world, and he just puts it on a podcast.
You've talked about this on the podcast.
No, I haven't. Shh. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're just a man of many.
I've done a lot
secrets.
of interesting things in my life.
Yeah, no, yeah, for
I've
sure.
accumulated a lot of random skills.
Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let my daughter go, that'll be the end of it. Have you?
I think
Have you ever
Liam
seen?
Neeson's like 70 now.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever seen Seth MacFarlane's Kermit impression of Liam Neeson's character? He's like,
Okay, remember when we were talking about time management and people spend a lot of time wasting time? I think you guys can get an idea of Dylan's time management. Have you seen this guy who does an impression of Kermit of Liam Neeson? No, Dylan, I haven't.
dude,
I
it's so
am busy
good.
doing things.
He's like, I will find you and I will, I will kill you. It's so funny, dude.
Oh my god.
All right. I'm just going to like sign us off now. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. We're going to play this beautiful Stranger Things outro music and get out of here.
Before we go, if people need music to work to, I can't listen to music when I work anymore, but the Stranger Things Pandora station is amazing.
I guess I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because that would be like, it's almost like retro wave style music, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Kind of like chill wave, synth wave, whatever you want to call it. I could see that.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. Okay, I'm going to play this lovely outro music as we dance and head out of here. But we will be back next week. I got a good one for you guys next week. And that's that. So talk to you guys soon. Until next week, adios. Peace out.